trying to do STEAM, which is science, technology. What is it? Science,
technology, engineering, arts,
engineering, and arts and math. So they're trying to find ways to sort of slip in this stuff. Of course, you obviously.
And I'm an artist, and it's not in there. That's no. Don't add art to that. No, like I believe art is a language of life, and it's I think the first extra thing we did expression-wise once we had the basics of life actually dealt with to a certain level that we had free time, then that's when we had the room for art. And I think science, technology, engineering, and maths, those are things that deal with the objective, practical aspects of making life, navigating the world and dealing with nature itself in a more practical, effective way. Those are what's used for that. Art is a bonus. It's a very valuable bonus. I think it's the most human of bonuses, but it's a bonus. Don't put it in there. Please, just stop that.
Well, even Lindsay himself pointed out what they call the hard sciences versus soft sciences differ as well. I mean, physics and chemistry versus sociology and psychology. It's the soft sciences. It's not that they're not valid. It's that the testing, the rigor, it's not as developed. Whereas physics, we can calculate exactly, okay, this particle moves here at this speed and that affects this. Whereas a lot of these other things are still being figured out.
There's definitely nothing artistic about H2O, about dihydrogen oxide. Like there's nothing there's nothing artistic about that. It just is. Please, people, we don't have to be everywhere.
So, of course, this is the corruption of the universities, because universities are ideally supposed to be, I don't know if I want to say unbiased, but they're supposed to take a broader view of things, and there's supposed to be a lot more rigor and research, because one of the criticisms that think tanks and certain research centers employed by corporations get is that because they're being funded by certain companies, that there's that old expression, whoever pays the piper calls the tune. So that's one of the arguments that comes up, for example, in the climate debate, is that, well, some of these companies get money from, some of these think tanks get money from oil companies. So if that's the case, how are they? Of course, they're going to promote fossil fuels. Now, whatever your thoughts on the whole climate debate, we can argue it either way, but that argument makes sense. But again, universities are supposed to be about competing ideas. The whole point of tenure was that if some thinker discovers something new and it upsets the order of things, they can't be fired simply for that. That was the whole purpose. And it wasn't supposed to be, this is an intellectual priesthood where, quote unquote, our betters decide what's true and everyone just goes along with it. That was never the goal.
Yeah, and the same influence that we agree that if an oil company is funding this school, chances are that school will have pro-fossil fuel stuff. Yeah. In the inverse, if a government is putting out incentives and grants and special programs for people who have gender studies programs, chances are that university is going to find ways to include more gender studies academia. Like, it's just be consistent with some of these things. Thank you for listening. This has been a clip from an actual longer recording that I'll try to leave a link to on the screen or somewhere around here where you're listening to this.
Presents. 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 Presents.
Peasants.
Okay. Okay.